روشنیوں کے شہر لاس اینجلس میں ہم سفیر پاکستان عزت مآب جناب جلیل عباس جیلانی کو خوش آمدید کہتے ہیں۔ ہر چند کے دامن وقت میں گنجائش کم تھی، لیکن آپ نے کمیونٹی سے ملاقات کے لیے اپنے قیمتی لمحات میں سے کچھ وقت نکالا، جس کے لیے ہم آپ کے بے حد ممنون ہیں۔ خانہ بے چراغ بھی سب کی نظر میں آ گیا، خانہ بے چراغ بھی سب کی نظر میں آ گیا، تیرے قیام کے طفیل ہم بھی تو باشرف ہوئے۔ سفیر پاکستان جناب جلیل عباس جیلانی کا نام کسی تعارف یا تعریف کا محتاج نہیں ہے۔ میں تیرا نام نہ لوں پھر بھی لوگ پہچانے کہ آپ اپنا تعارف ہوا بہار کی ہے۔ اسلامی جمہوریہ پاکستان کے 22ویں سفیر کی حیثیت سے ریاست ہائے متحدہ امریکہ میں عزت مآب جناب جلیل عباس جیلانی نے گزشتہ ماہ اپنا عہدہ سنبھالا اور اس حیثیت سے وہ پہلی بار لاس اینجلس تشریف لائے ہیں۔ سرزمین پاکستان کے اس لائق اور قابل ثبوت کا تعلق اولیاء کی سرزمین ملتان سے ہے۔ وہ اس خطے کے ایک ایسے خانوادے سے تعلق رکھتے ہیں جسے معاشرے میں انتہائی عزت، احترام اور قدر و منزلت کی نگاہ سے دیکھا جاتا ہے۔ جیلانی صاحب ایک ہمہ جہت شخصیت ہیں اور ان کی شخصیت کا ہر پہلو اپنی ذات میں ایک مکمل انجمن اور ادارے سے کم نہیں۔ ایک قابل قدر منجے ہوئے سفارتکار ہونے کے ساتھ ساتھ وہ بہترین منتظم، مدبر اور بے مثل خطیب ہیں۔ قانون کے علاوہ ڈیفنس اور اسٹریٹجک سٹڈیز میں بھی اعلیٰ ڈگریز رکھتے ہیں۔ انہوں نے 1979 میں پاکستان فارن آفس کو جوائن کیا۔ وہ جدہ، واشنگٹن، لندن، نیو دہلی، آسٹریلیا، بیلجیم اور دیگر ملکوں میں اعلیٰ سفارتی خدمات سر انجام دے چکے ہیں۔ وہ پاکستان کی وزارت خارجہ کے ترجمان اور پاکستان کے سیکرٹری خارجہ کے جیسے اعلیٰ عہدوں پر فائز رہ چکے ہیں۔ ان کے دل میں مسلمانان عالم اور خصوصاً اہل وطن کی زندگی کو بہتر بنانے اور وطن عزیز کی مؤثر اور مثبت نمائندگی کی خواہش معجزہ رہتی ہے۔ اس کی وجہ ان کا مثبت اور تعمیری زاویہ نظر ہے۔ اس مثبت اور تعمیری زاویہ نظر کو پیدا کرنے کے لیے ایک پڑھا لکھا، صحت مند اور باشعور ذہن چاہیے۔ قومی زبان اردو کے علاوہ انگریزی، فرانسیسی، عربی، اردو، پنجابی، سرائکی اور پشتو میں بھی قادر الکلام ہیں۔ کوثر و تسنیم میں دھلے ہوئے مسجع اور مکفّہ جملوں سے منسّع ان کی تقاریر علمی، ادبی اور فکری رگ و آہنگ کا حسین امتزاج بن کر دل کی گہرائیوں میں اتر جاتی ہیں۔ جلیل عباس جیلانی اس وقت بقول اقبال ریاست ہائے متحدہ امریکہ میں ہمارے وہ میرے کارواں ہیں جو نگاہ بلند، سخن دل نواز اور جان پرسوز رکھتے ہیں۔ نگاہ ادب سلام پیش کرتی ہے جناب عزت مآب سفیر پاکستان جناب جلیل عباس جیلانی کو۔ سنا ہے گردشیں اس کا طواف کرتی ہیں، چلے تو اس کو زمانے ٹھہر کے دیکھتے ہیں۔ سنا ہے بولے تو باتوں سے پھول جھڑتے ہیں، یہ بات ہے تو چلو بات کر کے دیکھتے ہیں۔ سفیر محترم، آپ سے گزارش ہے کہ تشریف لائیے اور اس تقریب سے خطاب فرمائیے۔
معزز خواتین و حضرات، میری بہنیں، میرے بھائیوں، ڈاکٹر خالد اعجاز، ڈاکٹر مسز اعجاز، تصور صاحب میں یہاں پہ موجود نہیں ہیں، میرے بہت ہی وہ اچھے کولیگ ہیں اور آسٹریلیا میں تصور صاحب اور میں ہم نے اکٹھے کام کیا ہے۔ To be very honest, when I took over as the ambassador of Pakistan to Washington DC, I was reconnecting with the Pakistani diaspora after exactly 14 years. 14 years in the sense that when I was posted to Washington from 95 to 99, I used to interact very, very closely with the Pakistani American community. And I have absolutely no doubt that the Pakistani American community in the United States of America is one of the most well-respected and law-abiding and hard-working community anywhere that I have come across. The community, I must say, you people have made not only your country of birth proud, but you have also made this country, the US, United States of America, that you made this country also very, very proud of your achievements. Believe me that when I go to the Congress or when I interact with the administration or when anybody that I come across and they speak volumes about the community that we have. I was with the Italian ambassador the other day, Italian ambassador who had worked very closely with me. We were together in Brussels when I was posted in Brussels as ambassador to the European Union. He said that like the Italian American community, which has been here for generations, but they still have maintained very strong connections with their country of origin or the country of their forefathers, the Pakistani American community is exactly the same. And he said that this is reflective in the presence of the young Pakistani staffer who works on the Capitol Hill, or a young Pakistani student who is in the university, or a young Pakistani banker who is working in a bank, or a doctor or an engineer who is working here. He told me very proudly, he said that, do you know that my primary care doctor is also a Pakistani American, and he is a wonderful person. So you can well imagine that it must be a matter of great pride for the ambassador of Pakistan to hear such comments from the other people that you come across. When I was here in the 90s, I very, very correctly remember that despite having spent a long time in the United States of America, you people still felt a very strong connection with Pakistan. And a demonstration of that very strong connection I witnessed. I had a personal experience when in the 90s there was an election taking place, and I'm sure that many of you who are present here who would remember that election, and that was an election between Mr. Pressler and Senator Tim Johnson. The Senator Pressler was seen as somebody who had introduced a legislation whereby certain sanctions were imposed on Pakistan related to Pakistan's nuclear program. And Tim Johnson, who was seen by majority of the Pakistani Americans as somebody, as a friend of Pakistan. So entire Pakistani American community, no matter wherever they were, they got together, they mobilized in their support, and they elected. And Senator Tim Johnson, he was elected, he defeated Senator Pressler. So that's the kind of strength that the Pakistani American community has in this country. मुझे इस बात का पूरा एहसास है कि मैंने जो बात की कि आप रहते अगर अमेरिका में भी हैं तो आपका दिल पाकिस्तान के साथ धड़कता है, तो उसको मुझे एक शेर याद आ रहा था कि बेकैफ सही बेरंग सही एक लहर तो अब भी आती है, दिल लाख शिकस्ता हो मौसम यादों को भुलाना मुश्किल है। आपकी यादें जो आपकी मुल्क के साथ वाबस्ते हैं, मुझे पूरा पूरा यकीन है कि वो हमेशा आपका एक हिस्सा रहेंगी, ना सिर्फ आपका हिस्सा रहेगी बल्कि आपके बच्चों का भी हिस्सा रहेगी। My dear brothers and sisters, I have absolutely no doubt that you people are always concerned about your country of birth. While you have done a great deal about Pakistan, whenever the country needs you, you have come forward, whether it is the earthquake, whether it is the floods of Pakistan, the community came forward to help Pakistan. Or, for that matter, I have myself seen here and personally experienced that if there was a legislation in the Congress concerning Pakistan, the entire Pakistani community, whether they were on the East Coast or the West Coast, they got together, they mobilized, they lobbied for Pakistan, and on many cases, we won that legislation. And I am today reminded of the Brown Amendment. Brown Amendment, which was introduced in 1996. It was meant to basically get, that was, if you recall, that we had paid for some money for the F-16 aircrafts. And then came the Preston Amendment, whereby neither the aircraft were delivered to Pakistan, nor we were getting our money back. And for that, we launched a campaign. Pakistani-American community became a part of that campaign, and ultimately, we got our money back through this legislation, for which all of you who are sitting here, you lobbied. All of those who are not sitting here, they lobbied. I'm also aware of the concerns that you have with regard to some of the challenges that we are faced with in Pakistan. I'm aware that you people are extremely concerned in case you hear incidents of terrorism, extremism, the governance issues, the corruption. All these issues are a matter of deep concern for all of you. But I will be very honest and very candid with you this evening, because I think it is my responsibility. I not only represent Pakistan, but I also represent you in Washington. And I will be very, very candid that despite having been in the eye of the storm for a number of years, the situation today is looking up. I am very, very optimistic. I am very confident. And I can say this at any forum that the situation is looking up. Many of the things which may appear to be a challenge or a difficult situation for you, some good emerges out of that crisis that our country is faced with. Believe me that after my postings after almost 6 years, after my postings to Australia and Brussels, when I came back to Pakistan to take over my assignment as the Foreign Secretary, about 2 years ago, I witnessed a new Pakistan, and I have absolutely no doubt about it. A new Pakistan where we witnessed a free media, rather the freest ever media anywhere in the world. We witnessed a judiciary which was so independent and which took so many decisions, which took cognizance of each and every issue that came up before it, that it basically created a new tradition in Pakistan. It was for the first time that somebody wanted to dictate their terms on the judiciary. The Chief Justice refused, but the entire judiciary, when he was asked to go home, the entire judiciary resigned. 60 judges of the superior judiciary resigned. So that's the new Pakistan that I am talking about. That is the Pakistan that I am talking about, because these are the kind of things which have never happened before. You had a very assertive parliament, and I have been serving in the government for almost now 35 years in the Foreign Service of Pakistan. I don't remember that the secretaries would be called by the parliamentary committees on a regular basis. I used to be called by the parliamentary committees whether it is the Foreign Affairs Committee of our Parliament, whether it is the Defense Committee of the Parliament, whether it is the Human Rights Committee of the Parliament, whether it is the committee looking after the women's issues, they would call me on almost a weekly basis to get a briefing, to put me on the mat, as to ask me what is happening, why is this happening, everything was debated in those committees in the Parliament. So, which was to be very honest, it was a breath of fresh air. It is something which again was not happening before. And then you see that you witness that all the state institutions, whether it was the judiciary, whether it is the army, whether it is the political institutions, they were also working according to the mandate that was given to them according to the Constitution. So there was a new tradition which had set up, and this is something that was in the face of many challenges that your country was faced with. 30 years of war in Afghanistan, 30 years of lawlessness that had come into our country. Despite that, the country showed a resilience, and वो जिस तरह कहते हैं कि एक कुंदन बन के जिस तरह एक कौम उभरती है, उस किस्म की जो है आप एक कौम को देखते थे. और फिर accountability. I know that many of you people are concerned as to why there was no accountability, but believe me that there was a massive accountability campaign that was also underway. I would see our colleagues from the civil services, from the police, from other departments being summoned by the courts on a regular basis. So this was certainly a new, these are the kind of things which we had never witnessed before. And then you also witnessed that elections were held. One civilian government was able to transfer power through a democratic process to a new civilian government, and the voters, in a very peaceful manner, they exercised their vote. They voted in favor of people who they thought would deliver. They did not vote for people who they thought they did not deliver. So these were, I think, some of the wonderful things which were taking place in the country, which certainly gives us a lot of hope. I'm not suggesting that everything is hunky-dory. There are challenges, but the hopeful, there are some very serious hopeful signs. I consider myself very fortunate that I have come to Washington at a time of good tidings. Good tidings in the sense that we witnessed some very turbulent times in our relationship. The relationship when I took over as the Foreign Secretary were extremely bad. We were not even on talking terms with the United States of America because of a number of incidents, issues that had cropped up. But with the passage of time, I think there was a reassessment. They also realized at some stage, the US government, that the Pakistan had its own limitations. And Pakistan also was able to demonstrate that we would be able to establish a relationship which is based on sovereign equality of the two countries. I am very happy to inform you that in the last 4 weeks that I have been here in Washington, I have interacted with the administration at the highest level. I interact on a regular basis with important members of the Congress. I interact with the media on a regular basis. I interact with the think tanks on a regular basis. And I also interact very regularly with the Pakistani diaspora, because I think these are all very, very important in terms of my engagement here in this country. And everybody the vibes that I get, the message that I get is very, very positive at every level. The negativity of the previous years has been replaced by a spirit of very good cooperation. There is a lot of hope attached to the current government in Pakistan by the US administration. You're all aware that Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had visited Washington in October. During the visit, he had very good interaction with President Obama. He interacted with all the important secretaries, Secretary Kerry, Secretary Energy, Secretary Commerce, Secretary Treasury, with National Security Advisor. These were all wonderful meetings. And the message that he went back with was also a message of a positive engagement. So that positive engagement is something that has been is what that has replaced the negativity of the previous years. There is every day when I interact with the World Bank or the IMF people. Yesterday I had a meeting with the managing director of the World Bank, and I was very happy to hear, and I must share it with you, when she mentioned, the managing director of World Bank, that we are very happy with the economic indicators of Pakistan. The economic indicators of Pakistan, this is something coming from the managing director of the World Bank. It was something which was music to my ears, because the economic indicators that you have are really very impressive. In the last 6 months, in a very short period of time, the government had focused on the priority issues with full determination, with a lot of commitment. The government was able to, the Prime Minister and his team, they were able to put in place a mechanism whereby today we have begun to see some very good developments taking place. And let me list some of the good developments which have taken place. For instance, the GDP growth in the last 4 months has improved, has gone up from 2.9% to 5%, which is no mean achievement, I would say, that, because this is again a reflection of the commitment and also the seriousness with which the economy is being revived. The tax collection, if you recall, people remained unwilling to, the tax culture was non-prevalent in the country. But when the government came, at the initial phase, 10,000 notices were sent to those people who were very rich but were not paying taxes. With the result that today, and these are something that each one of you can verify from the economic survey or the State Bank report or from the IMF report, that the tax collection has improved by 17%. In the next phase, the notices will be sent out to 70,000 people. 70,000 people who are not paying taxes. The government was able to pay back the circular debt to the tune of about $5 billion in a matter of 20 days. With the result that the electricity, the government was able to add about 1,700 megawatts of electricity to its grid. Those who have recently been to Pakistan, they would bear me out that the electricity shortages, the duration had come down significantly. From 10 hours to maybe 2 hours at the most, or 3 hours at the maximum. So that was the kind of steps which are being taken. I have absolutely no doubt that the situation is going to further improve. The education, I'm very confident, I'm very sure that you will be very happy to hear that education has been again a major focus of the government. We would be, previously only 2% of the total revenue were allocated to education budget. The same has been increased by 100%, and today the new government has given 4% of budget to education. On the mega dams projects, Again, I would like to share with you that yesterday I had discussed with the World Bank and IMF people about the mega projects that we are going to launch. Dasu Dam, inshallah, the World Bank, IMF, they have agreed in principle to assist us for the construction of Dasu Dam, and they are going to allocate about 700 million for the first year, which will be released very soon. So Dasu Dam will add about 4,500 megawatts of electricity. That single dam will also meet your all energy requirements. Another dam that we are going to build, for which we have started the process, is the Dayamir Bhasha Dam. Bhasha Dam is also going to add about 4,500 megawatts of electricity to our national grid. We are going to have nuclear energy added to our grid. We are going to add solar energy added to our grid. We are going to add the wind energy to our national grid. So these are some of the developments which were taking place in the country. Extremism. I mentioned about the 4 E's, the economy, energy, education, and extremism. All 3 E's have progressed. On the 4th E, which is extremism and terrorism, the government has already formulated a very comprehensive policy to deal with this phenomenon, and I have absolutely no doubt that we will soon hear good news from Pakistan in terms of extremism and terrorism. The important thing is that majority of the people of Pakistan are against all these people who are spreading this extremism in Pakistan. There is absolutely no support base for these people. And obviously these extremists, they cannot survive in a society where they do not have the support that they hope for. I mentioned to you about the Pakistan-US relationship. It is an extremely important relationship for us. We are engaged on there are 5 working groups which are meeting regularly, and the 5 working groups which are meeting regularly. One is on counterterrorism. We are cooperating very, very closely with the United States of America to counter extremism and terrorism from across the border. Then we have a working group on energy, which met last month, which is again meeting next week. And on the energy sector, the US government and Pakistan, we are going to partner in the development of various energy sector programs, which includes the development of the indigenous energy capacity. We have been told by the US Department of Energy that Pakistan has the 7th largest reserves of oil and gas resources. The only problem is that they remain untapped because of a couple of reasons, including terrorism, and also the issues related to tariff structure. Both these issues are now being tackled, and I have no doubt that in the coming months and years, we will have a lot of investment coming into this sector, in this sector. We have a dialogue on defense cooperation. The defense cooperation is going on very well between Pakistan and the United States of America, and the 5th dialogue that we are having with them is on a regular basis. That is on the nuclear issue. The kind of misperceptions that previously existed about Pakistan's nuclear program, I am very happy to report that they do not exist anymore. As a matter of fact, there is a recognition in the United States of America that Pakistan's nuclear program and the command and control system that we have put in place, they are one of the best in the world, and the kind of negative coverage that used to be to appear in the media, you must have seen that very frequently the US administration comes forward in order to negate that negative perception, including in the case of a recent report that was published recently. One thing, lastly, I didn't want to make a very long speech. But just wanted to tell you that the Prime Minister, before he took over, the day he took over as the Prime Minister, the first directive that the Prime Minister issued to all our missions was to emphasize 2 points. One, that our missions abroad, they must improve the consular facilities for our community abroad. The Prime Minister was very clear, and he very clearly directed that our consulates, our embassies abroad will always be, will come forward in order to help our community whenever it is needed. And he gave me specific instructions when I was the Foreign Secretary to make sure that the consular services should be improved. Many of you who are living abroad, you must be faced with a number of consular issues, and the Prime Minister said that the consular services should be provided any time of the day, including during weekends in case of emergencies. I'm sure that in the next couple of days you will see on our website that the consular services would also be available during the weekends in case of emergencies, because we are aware of the fact that in case there is a death in the family back home, or if there is a serious crisis that emerges, many of you people would like to, and if you get a news over the weekend, you don't want to wait for the Monday to come, you would like to have the same facility to be extended to you the same day. And that is the clear direction that we discussed yesterday when I had called all the consul generals to Washington, and this was agreed that this would be provided to all of you. The other major emphasis of the Prime Minister was to promote economic and trade cooperation with the countries that we have relations with. United States of America is certainly a very, very important country for us. It has helped us economically in the past. It continues to help us economically. But again, I think the Prime Minister's slogan, that trade, not aid, is something that I would seriously wish to pursue in this country during my posting here. I personally feel that trade is extremely important. When I was in Brussels, we were able to get the GSP Plus from the European Union. GSP Plus, for your information, is an arrangement whereby the Pakistani exports to the European Union would enjoy duty-free access for 4 years, for the next 4 years. The European Union gave us this concession in order to help us revive our economy. What I am arguing with the administration, with the members of the Congress, is to have similar concessions from the United States of America. And I have absolutely no doubt that in this campaign to get market access or preferential trade relations with the United States of America, or preferential trade concessions from the United States of America, I cannot single-handedly achieve my objective unless you all come forward. This is a very noble cause. You would be extending a great help to your country of birth by lobbying with me in whatever capacity you could do. Those who belong to the media can sort of highlight this issue, that Pakistan needs market access, preferential market access. Many of you who are influential in your own respective areas, you could talk to your own members of the Congress that this is something which is a very legitimate demand of Pakistan, that Pakistan needs it. We don't need aid, we need trade. Trade is important for Pakistan for a variety of reasons. The European Union, when it has given us the tariff concessions, the GSP plus, all of a sudden we have seen a surge of economic activity that has begun to take place in Pakistan. Many of our industrial units which were working 50% capacity, they are now working 80 to 90% of capacity. We will benefit to the tune of about $2 to $3 billion as a result of that surge in our exports to the European Union. In case we get a similar concession, you can well imagine that the kind of very positive impact that it will have on our economy. Trade concessions for Pakistan at this particular stage, when the economy is getting into shape, situation is getting better, will bring about a massive revolution. And the revolution would be in the shape of more investments coming into the industrial sector, more employment, and by employing our youth, we will be able to wean them away from the clutches of these extremists. And it will also automatically end extremism in the country. One more important point that I make in my interaction with the US side is that in Pakistan, for instance, there are certain sentiments. It's not a very positive sentiments about the US. Similarly, in the US also there is not. Everybody says this is a transactional relationship. And in my interaction, I tell them the US side that if you give trade concessions to Pakistan, it will send a very positive message to the people of Pakistan that the United States of America wants a positive long-term engagement with the people of Pakistan. This is a very important point. I'm mentioning it here because in your interaction also, you could make the same point that that Pakistan need this concession, and this would establish US-Pakistan relationship on a very sound footing. Another very strong point that I take up with the US administration, members of the Congress, is that the US objective is to stabilize Afghanistan. Afghanistan and Pakistan's economies are very, very closely linked. You can well imagine that the linkage is so strong that Afghanistan has a population of only 20 million people, but we have a $2.5 billion worth of exports to Afghanistan. With the United States of America, with a population of more than 15 million, we have a trade of export of about Trade Minister Saab, $3.6 billion. With Afghanistan, it is $2.5 billion. So that's the kind of very strong economic linkages. And in case Pakistan's economy gets stronger, Pakistan stabilizes, Afghanistan, whose economy is also linked to Pakistan, also stabilizes. Again, my profound thanks to all of you. I am humbled by your presence here. I have absolutely, I would want to come back to California, to Los Angeles again and again. And my promise is that I would like to work very, very closely with all of you. My promise that I am a very accessible person. I am very accessible to my colleagues. I am very accessible to wonderful people who are sitting here, and the wonderful Pakistani Americans who are wherever they are. When I came here, the first day of my arrival, I wrote about 300 or 400 letters to those Pakistani Americans with whom I used to interact with during my previous stay here, basically writing them that I would need your support. I, on my own, will only be able to achieve only this much. But if I have the support of all of you, then I will be able to achieve a lot. Your country will be able to achieve a lot. And this is something that is the primary objective that is going to be my stay in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. Last word, मेरी बहन ने मेरे बारे में जो कुछ कहा, I really don't know whether I really deserve those remarks that she uttered about me, but thank you so much. I mentioned about the Zabar Khan Sahab. He is a wonderful Consul General that you have. I think he is one of the most hardworking and a committed person that we have as Consul General, and so is Dr. Khalid Ijaz. Again, it's a very humble team. We have limited resources at the consulate, but I promise that within the limited resources, you will get the maximum possible service from us. Thank you so much.